Hello, once again, welcome to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I'm your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Robin Deca. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merckzone, Mike Merkel.
I'm here.
Kyle Budzanowski, obviously not here again this week.
He's supposed to be here.
He's supposed to be here, but he's a slacker, so we're not going to even acknowledge his existence this week. We're not even talking Michigan football this week.
Yeah, so he doesn't even care.
Yeah, we don't even need to talk about that atrocity again. We got a lot to go over, though, this week, Mike. We're going to talk NFL Week 1 from around the league. We're going to wait to cover the Lions until after Week 3. I feel like that'll give us enough to see and sense any trends. I don't want to make irrational decisions or claims. There's a lot of emotions coming out of Week 1 and possibly Week 2 as of this recording. So I want to wait, see where they're at after Week 3, and then we'll talk if I have the mustard to do it, basically.
Have the mustard?
The mustard,
I think you'll get the ketchup to do it,
We got a lot to go over, though. We're going to talk about NFL, the NFL as a whole in Week 1. We're going to talk the Antonio Brown saga like we promised last week. We're going to talk Miami tanking already, basically, after only 1 or 2 weeks. And everybody wants out almost immediately. I feel bad for Brian Flores. We're going to talk about the Pistons signing a key free agent. Quotations around the word key. And then we're going to end the show talking about NXT, its move to USA, and some comments that Triple H made about the brand. But let's just jump right into it, though. NFL Week 1 officially in the books.
Yes.
Well, even Week 2 for some teams as of this recording. So, biggest team for you to kind of ball out, just to kind of show up and be like, holy crap, no one saw that one coming. You know what I mean? Based off the competition, based off everything you saw. I mean, you watch every game. You sit there, you got 12 TVs, you got on 4 different screens.
Yeah,
You've got 2 screens with 4 screens built in. You're watching everything all the time.
It's rough, baby.
Exactly. Yeah, you're in the command center, I guess, if I had to say anything. So from that, though, while I'm over there having a heart attack about the Lions, you were over here watching everything.
Yes.
Give me a team that you thought really just showed something to you where you're like, okay, I can get behind that, and that wasn't a fluky performance.
Oh, it's wild. I actually think, and this is going to be so contra, the Patriots.
Oh my gosh.
Just because of level of competition of team they played.
For sure.
I would say, Baltimore put up 59 and everything.
Right.
But you are playing, you have to retrospectively look at the Dolphins and go,
they're awful.
If you don't put 40 points on the Dolphins, not to be mean, but you really should. It's like when
terrible.
It's like when Alabama plays a Division II school.
Any team on any game actually on their schedule except for Auburn, pretty much.
Yeah, Auburn and maybe Georgia or whoever they got. You should really be winning all those games by 50.
Yeah.
That's kind of one I just go in. You have Lamar who looks like he can throw now and all that. So that one I would say shocked me by 59-10 a little bit.
I think it shocked me the amount of points in the first half.
Yeah, it was 35 or 42.
They could have easily put up 100, I think.
But to go, if they really wanted to.
I know.
I mean, RG3 scoring.
I know, right?
But to go back, I think the Patriots just beginning to end straight domination and just a total beatdown of the Steelers and a 33-3 score at the end. That's just unparalleled.
And as we've talked about before, the time to get the Patriots is the beginning of the year. They don't get worse throughout the year. They get better. It's never they start out real hot and then they continue. It's usually it's an upward click, but in this case I think that's a perfect team. I know people are like, well, they're Super Bowl favorites. Yes. But looking at the level at which they played, Josh Gordon looked phenomenal. Julian Edelman's still there. Brady looks great. And they did it completely opposite of what they did last year, which was running the football, hard-nosed, fullback in the formation, power eyes, and just pounding the football. They went, Brady's going to throw 36 times, and it's going to be lights out anyway. So they picked apart a Steelers defense, which I think is at one of its weakest points right now. In the past, I would say 10 to 15 years. Yeah. The offense for Pittsburgh looked disjointed as all can be. I would look at that and go, okay, that's if you're anybody else, you're like, oh boy, that's not good.
The tough thing for me about the Steelers is I don't know if they're really going to be, if they're bad. You go 33-3, this team's not good, but it's are they not good because you played the best team in the league,
right?
Or are you just not really that good of a team this year?
I'll tell you
because if they're playing when they play Cincinnati and they play some of their lower tier teams, those are teams, and even maybe the Browns, I think they can play with and stuff to a certain extent. Where I'm sitting there, I'm like, are they really a bad team? Like, are they? I think they're a 9-10 win team, even though you got blown out by the Patriots. Right. It is the Patriots who are going to go 13-3 no matter what.
Right.
So
yeah, I think another team too that I think should deserve some credit. They're a division rival of ours, but the Minnesota Vikings. I thought they came out. They ran the football extremely effectively. Atlanta had no answer whatsoever defensively. They shut them down. They really got back to what I think that their identity needs to be, is giving the ball to Dalvin Cook 30 times a game, let Kirk Cousins play with play action, and not force Kirk Cousins to win you a football game. That is not who Kirk Cousins is. I know people like to think that's what he is, but it's not that at all. He is not the guy, all right, we're down by 2 scores, all right, Kirk, throw us back into this game. That's not going to happen. Minnesota plays much better when they run the football, when the defense is in control and they're controlling the line of scrimmage, which I think they did against Atlanta. As much as it pains me to say that. Which team do you think is already... I'm going to take Miami out of it for a second, because we're going to talk about them later on in the show. But what team do you think is already a dumpster fire? Like one where you're just going, oh my gosh, like based off their, whether it's their performance, whether it's news coming out of there. They may have even won week 1, but you just looked at it and you go, oof. Like, because there's a couple teams for me which I'm like, this is already going to get ugly really fast.
Well, there's a new dumpster fire that wasn't a dumpster fire like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
New York Jets.
Yeah, jeez. Talk about the worst one ever.
What are the odds that your starting quarterback gets mono and is going to be out for a month
Le'Veon Bell's got the shoulder injury. He's going to get he got an MRI, I think, yesterday. And I think C.J. Mosley's got a groin injury. So your 3 biggest pieces are all hurt in some level of form.
Yeah, so you're going to lose Darnold for a month. You don't know about the other 2. C.J. Mosley's supposed to be playing.
Yeah. But he's got a groin, so you know he's going to be limited.
Yeah, and then we don't know about Le'Veon. Yeah. But I think that team just went from, you could possibly get a 7 to 9 win season to you're probably a 4 to 5 at most.
Well, and especially if they play the way they played against Buffalo. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Buffalo's defense was #1 in the league last year for a reason. But with that being said, you had a lot of pieces. You revamped your wide receiving core. You got the best quote-unquote running back in the league, arguably. And Darnold's supposed to take that step under Adam Gase. You know, defense got better, got the best middle linebacker, and it came out flat. That's another team that I would be concerned about. I think another team that we can point to is the Carolina Panthers. I think that team is in disarray. I think Ron Rivera is coaching for his life right now. They just lost as of yesterday or Thursday night. They lost to a bad Tampa Bay team, which I do not think is good, as they got beat by the Niners. And Jameis Winston's terrible. So you look at that team. Cam Newton, I don't know if he looks right or not. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that game on Thursday, along with their Week 1 performance, I was not impressed by any stretch of the imagination. I know it was a close game, but that's a team where last year, talking about this team, they had Super Bowl aspirations. They lose 7 out of their last 8 games last year, including 1 here. And then it's been a total dumpster fire ever since. And you've got talent on that football team.
I think the Panthers have the problem that a lot of teams are going to have soon, where they're going to... Christian McCaffrey's their guy now. It's moved from Cam Newton to Christian McCaffrey. And as you see, pulling up the stats from the Panthers game, he had 16 carries for 37 yards.
Right, that's not good.
Yeah, so if that's like your star guy that you're going to rely upon, and now you're going to make Cam Newton throw the ball 51 times, and
which you won't win like that. You don't win like that with Cam Newton.
Exactly.
It's a very similar trait. There's guys in this league, and I think we both can agree, there's a group of guys in this league that if you have to throw the ball 50 times a game, you can win a football game.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole bunch of guys who are good quarterbacks, that's just not their game. They need a support system. They need a good run game. They need a defense to go out and pitch a shutout. They need something else outside of just their arm to make a play. You know what I mean? So I think there's a very select few guys that you can say, okay, it doesn't matter. We have our guy, and it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, Brady, Breeze, those types of guys you just know can win a football game. There's a lot of teams, though, coming into the season with a lot of hype. Chicago, Cleveland, Green Bay, even to a certain extent. Hell, everybody in the NFC North besides Detroit. We can talk about teams, that are kind of on the upswing on the rebuilding. Atlanta looked to make the move again. Even, the Dallas Cowboys are always the Super Bowl favorites until they actually play a football game. Is there a team for you that had a lot of hype going in that just fell completely on their faces? Like, just completely, we're just like, well, that was embarrassing. Because I have one. I think it's the same one you're going to say, but I'll let you go first.
Wait, come back to me.
All right, I'm gonna say Cleveland. I think that was I just want to take shots right now because that was an atrocious football game by Baker. I mean, he threw 3 picks back to back, almost 2 of which I think were returned for touchdowns. Am I right on that?
Well, only one was.
Only one was. Okay,
yeah,
that was the Jameis Winston game. He threw back to back picks.
Yes.
But he threw 3 interceptions. Your offense looked completely out of sync. Your defense looked against a team in Tennessee where Marcus Mariota had like 11 touchdown passes last year, guys. Yeah. 11. And he started more than 2 games, okay? Like, come on. Like, seriously? Yeah. I think the year before that he had the same thing. He had like 9. So, like, you lose to a team like that who is so grounded and you get blown out by 30. I get it. You're away. But for being the uncrowned champions all of a sudden, it was a rough go.
They were home.
Oh, they were home too? Yeah. Oh, I thought they were in Tennessee. I was giving them a little bit of break. Well, then that's even worse.
Yeah, they were
What are you guys doing? Get out of here. The Cleveland's mine. That was a complete joke. And then they want to come out and say, everyone's going to doubt us now. I'm like, you lost by 30 at home.
Yeah.
To a Tennessee team that's at best 8-8. At best. And that's because they play in a crappy division now because Andrew Luck retired. So don't even give me that. Who do you got?
Oh, well, you gave me a few minutes, and I still can't figure somebody out. That's awesome. Didn't prepare for that one. I'm gonna say the Rams.
Yeah.
Only because their first game performance didn't really spark interest in me.
No.
We just talked about how the Panthers are kind of falling off the wagon a little bit.
Yeah.
And they went 30-27 on them. Mm-hmm. So even though they won, I went.
It wasn't clean.
It wasn't their best kind of victory. Now it is week 1. Like all these are week 1 stuff.
For sure.
If we're talking about week 11, that's different.
Obviously.
But off this is just week 1. I'm like. I would be nervous, especially because Seattle didn't look great.
Well, that's the team that I want to say too is Seattle. That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, Seattle doesn't look great, but I do think there's room.
Oh yeah,
definitely. They still have the team there, and
you look at the rosters between Seattle and the Rams. Those are 2 different roster levels. Yes. Like I get it, Seattle got Clowney, but outside of Clowney and a couple of people, Wagner and KJ Wright, there's nobody else in that secondary that anybody can name off the top of their head outside of Seattle, right? In the wide receiving core, I get it, they got DK Metcalf, but once again, who else is a wide receiver in Seattle right now? You can't name one.
Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, I guess, right? I'm going to give you, but
yeah,
point being, you know what I mean? You look, Robert Woods, Brandon Cook. I just saw an article today. Everyone's forgetting how good Brandon Cooks is and how he's a 1,000-yard receiver. I'm like, great, whatever. So I agree with you. I think the Rams didn't show, they didn't come out like they were supposed to, I guess.
I would say Seattle more or less didn't come out like they were supposed to, especially
I think
the Bengals.
Cincinnati came out firing.
The Rams, to me, I think Bengals were like, we do have a shot at this.
Yeah, they just went, screw it. Let's just throw it.
Panthers were like, I mean, we're going to be good, so like this is a matchup, and and they actually played them very well.
Oh yeah, for sure. No doubt. They still have great defense, obviously. Ron Rivera didn't lose that ability, clearly. Yeah, like I said, I think Seattle's another team. I'm going to give a shout out to Cincinnati just because they didn't get embarrassed. If I would call if you look at that game on paper, you go, Seattle by 2 touchdowns easily.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So, and they hung with them for a while, and they had some missed opportunities. So we could be talking about a big upset. Even week 1 with Cincinnati pulling out.
There's the Eagles-Redskins. I guess we'll just go through every game.
Yeah, right.
Eagles-Redskins. Yeah. It was, 21-0?
Right, that's a typical Washington. Everyone wants to give the crap for the Lions, and we'll do that after next week, depending on what their record is. But that's a game like Washington, right? You go up early like that, and then you completely in the second half go, we're not doing a single thing. Yeah. We're not going to do nothing.
It was Adrian Peterson 17-0 at one point. Yeah, halftime was 20-7.
Yeah,
and they lost 32-27 at the end.
Right.
So I'm like, the Eagles didn't come out good. They finished well, but you are playing the Redskins also, so that's another team.
Yeah, with Case Keenum at quarterback. Like, let's calm it down. Yeah. Right? Like, they don't have a good option. Maybe I don't know why they're not starting Haskins, but that's beside the point. But and Darius Geis is out for them now too already. So awesome. Like he's played like 4 snaps. Like it's craziness. All right, let's jump in now to the Antonio Brown saga. We teased it last week. Let's get into
fantastic.
it. Obviously he gets traded from Pittsburgh to the Bills for half a second. Then they go, never mind, it's canceled. And then they go. Now he goes back to Pittsburgh. Then he goes to Oakland for a third and some change. And then he never plays a snap for them. He burns his feet. He complains about his helmet. He's got a pinky ache. I don't know what his problem is. And then he gets cut. He throws a Jamboree parade. And we were talking about it, and it goes, okay, how long before he goes to New England? And it took all about 7 seconds. So, and he's in New England now on a 1-year deal. Yep. $15 million, $9 million guaranteed with $5 million in incentives. Just thoughts from you on how Brown got here, just this whole shenanigans and everything else, and I mean, what does this say about Antonio Brown? What are just give me your thoughts on this, because we talked about it a little bit, because I always ask the question like, what if the Lions tried to sign him, right? Knowing we had no chance, right? But it was just more like, but what if, you know? Like there's always the what if for me, but in reality, we only knew that he was only going to one team. So I mean, thoughts on Brown going to New England?
It makes them. I would love to say it makes them have better odds, but I don't think it increases them that much to me. Because they're a run-first team now anyway. Now, Brady does have that guy to throw to. But
here's Josh Gordon and Julian.
Yeah. But I do have some problems there because of how Antonio Brown's been
in the past. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you're going to have such a vast options. Especially just going to the Patriots. If you went anywhere else, it's different. Right. But going just to the Patriots. So you're telling me last year...
There's never a guy besides Brady. There's never been a guy like on that talent.
Exactly. Right? But like last year, so he's on the Steelers, and he's like, oh my God, you only targeted me 9 times? Are you kidding me? This is stupid.
He still put up over 1,000.
And he put up 1,000 yards, whatever. He had all this great season. But now you're going to tell me he's going to get targeted more in New England? No. So now is it just like, oh, I can come here and win a Super Bowl? Is that like, the aspiration? Probably it's going to happen. But at the same time, I go, but from recency bias, I go, I don't think it's a great fit because I don't think he'll get the targets that he wants.
Right.
And I do think it will cause a lot of turmoil in the middle of the Patriots.
Now I'm going to put an asterisk on this. I'm going to say we're not going to talk about any of the allegations or anything, because that's not our forte here on this show. We're not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. We're a family show. But I will say this though, that a lot of people have said that this could be New England's Achilles heel in a lot of ways, right?
I would agree.
You know, in a situation, but to a counterpoint to that, right? Look what they did with Randy Moss, right? Randy Moss kept his mouth shut for about 2 years, right? Where the second year, obviously, Brady got hurt, so he didn't maximize that relationship. But year 3, he started piping off again. He was starting to get all fussy, whatever, and they traded his butt.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly, right? And then Moss is out of the league within minutes after that, really, you know, in the grand scheme of things. So I think he's going there with the assumption, okay, I got to keep my mouth shut. I got to make this work. I got to show the people, you know, I don't think he's going to be able to do that long term, but I do think for one season, I think if Josh Gordon can stop smoking weed, and I know that's hard for you, Josh, but come on, man.
Yeah.
And you have Julian Edelman still here. You've got Philip Dorsett still there. And you have Antonio Brown. All of a sudden, you've got this wide receiver core. You're like, who are you going to cover? Who can double cover?
Yeah.
You can't double cover Edelman because Antonio Brown's going to beat you.
Yeah.
You double cover, and if you don't double cover Edelman, he's just going to beat you all day long. Yeah. It's going to be ridiculous. Screw the tight end. Gronk could come in now at the skinny mini size that he is now, no nothing, and still be effective.
Yes, I totally agree. I think it's going to be a very tough matchup there. And I think the only team 100% healthy that can beat them is the Chiefs at this point. Right. I think the Chiefs are the only team that can score enough points. Because I really don't think
Tyreek Hill are out now too for 6 weeks.
I'm saying there, I'm like, on the asterisks of they have to be everyone there.
Absolutely, no doubt.
But like, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to stop them. No, I do think that's going to be one of the best shootouts.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like a high 50s game.
I would have, at that point you go to, okay, who's the better coach? That's where I go, because Belichick's calling the plays for New England. Yeah, it sounds like a New England podcast, for goodness sakes. Do you think though that this was always his plan? We all knew Steelers were never going to trade the Brown to New England. There was no way that was ever going to happen. In the AFC, they're rivals. They could have given up 7 first-round picks. They'd have been like, screw you, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
So, but do you think this was Antonio Brown's plan? Do you think he got to Oakland, he went, this sucks. Like, this place is terrible. We're going to be terrible, whatever. And
I love that they win the first game.
I know, and they won against a crappy Broncos team with Joe Flacco, so I'm going to put an asterisk next to that, too. But a win's a win. Yeah. But with that being said, right, do you think that he just showed up to Oakland or Vegas or wherever the hell they're at now and go, nope, can't do it. Can't do it. I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm going to die here. You know what I mean? Literally, the trajectory from him and Randy Moss is weird. How he's kind of gone through these phases.
Yeah, I do think that he did want to leave. I think he was like, just cut me. Just like, I don't just like
seriously anybody else.
Yeah. And so, but I don't think his initial was like, oh, but I'm going to be a Patriot. I don't know if that was like the pre-planned, like, I'm going to be a Patriot. And I think there are a few teams, I do think honestly, like a Colts could have been a possibility or something. Yeah, when Luck was there, now that he left, obviously. Right. But I think you can go through the list and you go, I could see them going to X team or X team.
He could have went to Baltimore. Give me him in Baltimore. They don't have a really true number one. Really, I get that Hollywood Brown, but imagine him and Brown together.
If he could fit in like the Packers or something.
Oh God, because that would be my luck.
Yeah, well, because you would just have Rodgers Brown all day long with that defense or whatever.
Don't even say that out loud. It makes me upset. It makes me so upset.
The Eagles need that guy or whatever. So there were a bunch of teams I was like, yeah, you could probably go to this team. Right. But then the Patriots were probably just like the...
What does this mean then for New England? Is it now to the point where their team is, on paper at least, especially offensively, it's so stacked? You just said it doesn't really raise their Super Bowl odds because they were the proverbial favorites, I would assume, going in. Probably them, Kansas City, Saints... Maybe the Rams again. Maybe if Goff has a good year.
Eagles.
Eagles. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, with that being said, what does this mean? Is this the one thing that can either take New England over the top, or just give them the trophy now? It's over, or is it there? Like I mentioned earlier, where is this the one thing that could fracture this whole system, or is it not long term enough? Where they're going to be okay for the season, and
it really just
if he doesn't get suspended already due to these allegations.
Yeah, it does depend. It does depend on how he acts. If he's going to be that guy who gets 3 catches and he's okay with everything, the sky's the limit for this team. I think, like I said,
you think
the
Chiefs. Undefeated?
I actually was going to ask you that after. I don't think they will. Only because I think they always drop 1 or 2 to some random team.
Like Miami this week, I know they're terrible. We spent 20 minutes talking about how terrible they are. But Brady's terrible in Miami.
Yeah.
Historically. He's always been terrible. Yeah. For whatever reason, I don't know why. It just happens.
Well, because they play the Chiefs in the middle or late to the season. They got some of these, because they all first play, they play Houston sometime during the season. So I think there's one of those games that you could just go, yeah, you're not going to take that one just because.
Right. Just for whatever weird reason.
Whatever weird reason or whatever. Yeah. But I do say like 14, 15 wins. And the only 2 teams, in my opinion, I think that can beat them are the Chiefs, because they could possibly outscore them, or the Saints.
Right.
I think the Saints' defense is good enough to stop them a few times. And Breeze with Thomas and Kamara, that's a tough team to stop there. So I think like if they made the Super Bowl first,
that's what makes them so difficult is that you look at it and they're so smart. Like they signed Demaryius Thomas, they cut him, they re-signed him, and yet they are able to flip him for a 6th-round pick to the Jets. Like the fact that they were able to flip a guy that they don't even want on the roster for picks is crazy to me in the first place. So I agree with you. I think I don't know if even the Chiefs can honestly do it. And here's why I say that. I get they got Frank Clark now, and for Dee Ford, but at the same time, I do think that Mahomes, while he will still be good, I don't know if he will be MVP good this year. And I think that is what's like. I know Brady will be like this all year. Right? Like, he will just be consistently, even when he has a quote-unquote bad game, okay, well, Sonny Michel had 300 yards rushing, so it doesn't matter. So you know that offense is just going to be humming along pretty much all the time. I can't say that for any other offense in the league outside of the Chiefs, and I still think Mahomes has to go through that growing pain period. You know what I mean? Every guy does it. Even Brady, the year if they won the Super Bowl the first time, they didn't make the playoffs next year. You know what I mean? There's a growing pain period that every quarterback has to go through, and at some point it's going to hit.
I know the Chiefs.
There's going to be enough tape at one point.
The only thing with the Chiefs for me is they're creeping into the AFC East situation where their division's not very good.
Right.
So like Denver and Raiders, you can argue that's 4 wins right there.
And the Chargers, you're at least splitting.
And Chargers, you could probably split. One of them's in Mexico, and the other one I think is at the Chargers. So like I'm like that's a tough. But I would say at least split. So you got 5 wins, just like the Patriots do every year.
Absolutely.
So at that point you have 5. You play a whole other division in your side, and you could probably win 3 of those because you're better than.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can definitely go undefeated.
Yeah. So you're hitting. Yeah. So you're hitting like 9 to 10 wins almost guaranteed. Just with the schedule.
Right.
So then that's.
I'm talking like when they meet, playoff time goes, especially if New England's first seed, just book them in the Super Bowl. I don't see anybody beating them in Foxborough.
I think it's interesting. I think they can.
I think it's going to be fun. That's why we're talking about it now, so we can look back on this and be like, remember when we were talking about how New England's going to be awesome and they've lost 3 straight or something like that? If that ever
I think their deep trap game, last thing on is the Ravens, because they play the Ravens week 4.
Absolutely. That'll be a great game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That'll be a fantastic, especially if Lamar Jackson has proven that, I can throw the football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's some fun there. That'll be good stuff. We'll obviously talk about those big-time matchups as they come along. Okay. So that's going to be it for part 1 of episode 42. I can't believe we're on episode 42 already, guys. It feels like we just started. After the break, we're going to talk Miami and their mass exodus from the entire team. They're not even going to feel the roster, I don't think, by the end of the year. And then we're going to talk about the Pistons signing this major, and I do mean major,
he was an MVP of another league.
He was an MVP, pause, of another league. And we're going to talk some WWE NXT all after the break. Stick around. Hey guys, it's the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Medeka. Just reminding you, once again, we have a brand new website, I'mAlwaysRightPC.com. Go to our Contact Us page to become a brand new member of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast family. You can suggest a show topic. Maybe you want to be a free sponsor for one of the episodes. Hit us up, I'mAlwaysRightPC.com. Now here's part 2 of this week's episode. Alright, and welcome back to part 2 of episode 42. Let's jump right into it, Mike. Miami, it's a dumpster fire. We talked about it in part 1. They look terrible, no effort whatsoever. Fitzpatrick set a record, first guy ever to throw a touchdown pass for 8 teams in the NFL, so good for him, I guess.
Look at that guy.
Josh Rosen got a little bit of action at the end of that game, went 1 for 4 with a pick, so, same amount of completions to his team that he had to the other one. But a lot of players immediately called, apparently, their agents be like, get me out of here as fast as possible. And we're going to talk about one guy in particular in a second, but what's Miami's plan? Obviously they're committed. They traded Larry Tunsil, traded away Kenny Stills after just re-signing him a couple years ago. What's the plan here? Because you thought, okay, they're gonna trade for Josh Rosen. They know they're gonna be bad, but they're gonna try to grow. But now Fitzpatrick's the starter, so clearly that plan went out the window, or at least is on hold. You got Brian Flores, new coach, and new offense coordinator, that it was a wide receivers coach in New England. You got a lot of new stuff happening, and they're just going to be terrible. What's the plan? Are they tanking for Tua or Justin Herbert, or is this a 2-year rebuild for
honestly,
boy?
I would. Better day. God, I loved it. Okay, anyway, I would like to say that they have a plan. I don't know why they would tank for a quarterback when they traded for one, which doesn't make any sense. Rosen.
I know.
So, I mean, I'm hoping that they just kind of go, Rosen, you're going to take the back seat for a year, and then, we'll draft you a decent kind of something and then to work with.
But that's what I'm saying. If they have the first pick, are they not going to take a quarterback?
No, they're probably going to take a...
Can we pause for a second? Can you imagine they have the #1 pick? Yeah. They traded for Rosen, and they draft a quarterback first overall, and then they trade Rosen or cut him?
Yeah.
How awesome would that be? First quarterback to be drafted in the first round and then be dropped by his next 2 teams. That's awesome. Honestly, because I don't think they have a plan. They just look like they're going out there. It looks like they're going through the motions. I think they're going to get pulverized by New England by 112. And I don't think it's going to be close. So, if they want to see if Rosen's going to be the guy, why is he not starting? Is it just not to get him killed because you're your best offensive lineman?
I'm hoping that you're doing this whole learn the system thing behind somebody so you can watch somebody else get killed. Jeez. And hopefully next year you won't get killed. Yeah. I'm hoping that's kind of what it is for them, but at the same time I'm just like, I don't know. And it feels like
there's no direction.
There's no for all the crap that the Lions get. At least they have some kind.
At least they're going with a plan. Whether the plan works or not is yet to be seen. But at least there is something plan. Exactly, which I think is a little bit different. Now, a guy I want to talk about in particular is Minkah Fitzpatrick, former first-round pick from a couple years ago. He's been corner, he's been safety, he's been slot, he's been strong safety. He's playing strong safety, I think, right now. He's probably their top defensive back outside of Rashad Jones, who they just gave a contract extension to, but he's on his rookie deal. He's been given permission to seek a trade. Miami is looking for a first-round pick. A lot of people think that's too much. They will probably get a 2 for him. Should the Lions, a team that's got secondary depth issues, should they be a team that's in that street? Let's just say the price is at #2, is a second-round pick. Let's just go with that for a second. If that's the price, do you make that trade for a guy like Minkah Fitzpatrick on his rookie contract still? Rashad Melvin's only on a 1-year deal. Yeah. You've just paid money to Coleman, who can play inside and outside. Fitzpatrick can play inside, outside. He has some versatility. The Lions love versatility. Yeah. As you can tell, I'm kind of behind this.
I would say I'm behind it only because I'm big into the... I would rather pay for what I know is there instead of the devil I don't kind of thing. You know
right, no, for sure. Absolutely.
So I sit there and I go, you already have film on Minkah Fitzpatrick, so at least you unless you don't like what you see, obviously.
No doubt.
But you sit there and you go, okay, here are the X amount of games that he's played. do you like the skill set?
Yes.
Where if you're drafting a rookie out of Florida is the best corner, I guess, right now, or Ohio State has the best one, or whatever. Whoever has the best one in college football, Kyle would know.
Not Lavert Hill. Not Lavert Hill.
It's not Lavert Hill. But whoever's the best corner and that's like who you're thinking about drafting first. You don't know how he's going to be at the pro style.
And you know too that it's the transition. You know, quarterback, corner, tight end are probably the three toughest positions to make that transition from college to pro. So I think there's at a risk. Obviously, the Tease Tabor thing was a complete swing and miss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think there's that risk as well.
Yeah. So I would probably say I would do it only because I'm like, at least you know what you get from him. So yeah, I would do it. But actually, I don't mind our corners right now. I think
I thought Melvin played fine, no doubt.
And Darius Slay, did Darius Slay things.
Right.
Coleman didn't really. I mean,
I thought he was fine. I thought Coleman was fine.
And the safeties did very well. So I think our defensive backs were not the issue. So I was like, I don't think I would because I'd like that draft pick to maybe get another
the only reason why I would be more in favor of it is a couple reasons. Number one, you have the cap space right now. I know they're planning for some of these backloaded contracts that they just signed, but you have the cap space right now. I feel like they're waiting to make a move still. I don't know why. I don't have any intel on this. It's just more of a gut feeling that like the Mike Daniels, I didn't see that coming, right? He gets cut, they sign him, I'm like, hey, that's an aggressive win now type move, right? And I do feel like there's pressure on this current regime to kind of get that done. So with that being said, you put a guy like that, okay, now I have Minka Fitzpatrick, okay, now I have Melvin coming off the bench. And then now I'm like, man, I got a rotation of guys where right now if Melvin gets hurt, oh boy, there's a struggle there. Are you going to put Agnew in the slot? That's a disaster, right? Are you going to have to drop Diggs down to the slot and put Will Harris at safety? You don't know how that's going to work out, or Tavon Molson, whoever. I mean, you've got a lot of chess pieces, but I don't know if they're great chess pieces. Yeah. So if you have an opportunity to add a guy who you think can come in, start, fill a position, and he plays multiple positions, I think that just makes you more difficult to play. You know what I mean? So, and a guy still under rookie contract for a couple more years. I think it's at least 3. So, I mean, you look at it, the money's not bad. I think it's the 11th overall pick. The money is nothing of any sort of importance right now in that regard. You can still extend Slay. You've got 2 guys with Coleman as your slot. I think, especially because Melvin's only here on a 1-year deal, if he plays well, he's gone. You're not going to re-sign him more than he's going to go get overpaid somewhere else. If he plays terrible, it's just another hole you have to fill. A guy who's young on his rookie contract, you can afford to pay Slay, and I think it's just, long term, I think it's a smart move, especially if he plays well, and he can maybe turn into your number 1 guy. Who knows? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of positives to it. I know you're giving up a second-round pick, which is obviously a valued asset for that. I would not be thrilled if they gave away a number 1. I would not be thrilled with that.
Probably not, no.
And unless they finish, 11-5 somehow, 11-4-1 or something like that, then it's a different story. But until that happens, I wouldn't be thrilled. All right, let's shift now. We talked a lot of football. Let's shift now to the hardwood for a second here, and we're going to talk some Detroit Pistons. I know it's offseason. Everyone's like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about the Pistons for?" But they made a splash, and I do mean a splash, in this weird downtime free agency, U.S. losing in World Cup action thing. They signed a former MVP of the Big 3 League. That's right. The Pistons beat out a couple of the teams, including the 76ers. I think Milwaukee was interested as well. They have signed ISO Joe Johnson to a 1-year, partially guaranteed contract. That's right. Hold your applause. I know. You're impressed.
You need a soundboard and have an applause button.
I know, right? Woohoo! No. For the 8-year-old man that's coming here, they cut Michael Beasley, which everyone's really bummed out about, clearly. Now, with that...
petition started.
With the...
Yes, Michael Beasley.
I know, right? He's going to go play in China again. What is this? Now, all kidding aside, though, right? He was the MVP. He pretty much dominated in the Big 3. I mean, he really did. They obviously feel he can be an effective scorer off the bench, right? Coming in, providing some veteran leadership. What does this signing say to you about how the team is being built? There's been some comments about the lack of big men on this team as far as the center position. Who's your backup center? Blake Griffin? In all honesty, seriously, Markieff Morris? Who? You don't really have a backup center. Oh yeah, Thon Maker's still there.
Okay,
yeah, right.
Well, exactly.
I mean, but even then, they'd prefer, I think, to put him maybe at the stretch 4.
Probably,
I don't know. So, with that being said, the team is being built with. you can feel they want a lot of scorers, right? They want guys who can ISO Joe for a reason. In isolation, pick and roll, just score. We just need to score more points, I think is the whole point of Dwayne Casey's motto. It's like, we're not scoring enough points, hence why we're not winning. So
yeah, they don't score any points.
No, they're it's like 90 points a game. And you're just like, oh, it's so boring because they don't play great defense either. So it's not like they're holding teams like the going to work Pistons to 75 a night. Yeah. It's not happening. So give me how is this team being built right now with the draft and everything else? Do you like where they're headed? Are you confused as all hell? Like. Because some people are like, oh great, Joe Johnson, he's 90. Like, what is?
I'm hoping that he can help develop Sekou, the
Frenchman.
The Frenchman.
I hope he has that nickname where he comes out and balls out, and we just call him the Frenchman.
Oh my God! I heard he has like the greatest jump shot ever, so I'm like really excited. I think this draft is so important. I think this draft is really gonna either set the Pistons up with Sekou there, or it's going to be like, oh, you took like 3 steps back with Sekou, kind of thing. Because you're seeing like a
first time we had a first round pick in like 2 years. So.
Yeah, we're seeing kind of a team because you got like Reggie, Luke Kennard, Tony Snell, Blake, and Drummond. Setting against your starting 5 with like D Rose, and you got Sekou off the bench with Langston Galloway and Thon and whatever, and now you got Joe Johnson coming off the bench. So now you have a good 10-man rotation.
I think
that's what you're going to use. That's actually like relatively. I would go, that's not bad.
Right. Especially in the East.
You're sitting in the East and like what teams can you say, oh yeah, they're so much better. I would say Milwaukee, the Sixers, Boston, and after that I'm like, I think you could really compete with most of the other teams. Because like Brooklyn's like, oh, I got Kyrie.
Yeah, okay, great. Cool. Kevin Durant's not playing for you anyway. So.
And so like,
what Kyrie can do by himself. No.
Yeah, so I just think that this team, how it's being built, you're getting more deep. So now Blake Griffin can take games off, and you can just insert Joe Johnson at power forward. And now you're not going to die out without him. And you can, D Rose can't play. All right, well, now you got Reggie and you got this guy. So I think there's more depth to the team, and I think that was just really a depth pick.
Right. And I think, too, you look at how they're constructing this roster, right? Drummond's got a player option after this year. He could potentially become a free agent. You got Reggie's up officially after this season. D Rose only signed a 2-year deal. Everything is being short term. I think they're really setting up to make a push for free agency 2 years from now. I get it. It's the Pistons, so they're going to have to overpay. But if you're drafting with some sort of some competence and not reaching for guys who just because they have quote unquote a good 3-point shot. What was his nuts from Marquette? It was Henry Ellison. He was supposed to be a stretch guy who can shoot the 3, and he's god awful. So. And look how that experiment worked out. So you look at it and you go, okay, you've got a building block with Blake still. You got a building block with Kennard as your young, hot upstart shooter. You've got veteran point guard right now where if Derrick Rose can be any semblance of what he was in Minnesota, I think he's going to be a great asset. And he's going to wind up taking the job from Reggie. I honestly think that. You got the young guy in Sekou, the Frenchman, as we're going to call him here on the show.
Shirt.
Absolutely. It might be on the shirt on the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast shop pretty soon. But, I kind of like what they're doing. Everything's short term. It's like, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Let's just get guys who can put the ball in the basket. That's all we want.
Is that the objective of basketball?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You don't do that very often.
Clearly, right? If Blake doesn't go for 30, where it's a rough scoring night, Drum put up a triple-double. Okay, great. You're the biggest dude out there. No one plays center anymore. Yeah. You should. So I like that. What's your outlook? What's their ceiling? Is it the 4th seed in the East? Is that kind of where is that like their top? Is it the 3rd? Is it the 5th seed? Is it squeak in the playoffs and get completely demolised
by Milwaukee again? Yes. I think their ceiling is a 4 seed. I think they're flooring.
They got to make the playoffs.
The floor is like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can name 8 teams that are that much better, but I do think there could be stretches where you lose 7 in a row, and then you kind of and then you're 9th or 10th place for a while or whatever, and then there are teams like Miami and those teams that can like really kind of ball out with Jimmy Butler there.
For sure.
So I do think a ceiling because as I mentioned, Bucks, Sixers, and Celtics are, and maybe even the Pacers at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are 4 that I go, I don't know if you're going to be able to beat those guys out, but I think everyone else, especially in the East. 2 of those are in your division, too. That's nice. So, and then more or less the rest of the East, I go, I think you're probably, if not with most of those teams, you could be better than most of those. So I think around a 4 or 5 is your max. and then making the playoffs is probably the bottom.
Right.
If you don't make the playoffs, I'll be very shocked.
Right, yeah. But like, some teams like that were in that range with you, like Charlotte, they got immediately a million times worse.
Yeah,
right?
Charlotte, Orlando didn't get any better.
No, Orlando didn't get any better. So you got teams that were kind of in that hunt who have gotten worse, I think. And I think, if nothing else...
And the Raptors probably got a little worse. Raptors can contend, but...
Yeah, right. The Pistons either stayed stagnant and kind of stayed with the plan, or I think they got a little bit better. I think their depth is much, much better overall, which I think is big. So we'll take note of that. Let's jump now to Squared Circle. You know, WWE NXT kind of making the jump to USA pretty soon here in the next week. Mike clearly not a fan, but they're clearly trying this. They're making this push to make it a legitimate third brand, right? They're trying to make it to where, not even to the point what ECW was, which was a miserable attempt, right? But like they're trying to make it an equal, three quarters. It's Raw, it's SmackDown, it's NXT. NXT is no longer viewed in their mind in a lot of ways as developmental, right? They're not getting sent down to NXT. They're just going to NXT. You know what I mean? Triple H has kind of come out and said he's kind of the, he's executive vice president or whatever, COO, and he's the genius behind NXT in a lot of regards, and he's the guy who's basically come out and said, there is no more calling up people. That phrase is extinct here in WWE world, I guess. And that people could theoretically be NXT lifers, like Johnny Gargano just did a thing where he's like, I'm going to be here forever kind of thing. And I went, well, that sucks. So
I would say, okay, and I think we're going to hit it. Yeah. I think you could say it sucks unless, and I don't want this to happen at all, mind you, but if you can, like, if that's a third brand where you're getting put on, like, WrestleMania at SummerSlam and the big cards, I don't think it's, I don't think it's a bad thing that you're an NXT homer or whatever, like Gargano's going to be there forever. He can stay there forever for all I care, as long as he gets the opportunities to be on the bigger shows. But one thing I don't want them to do is take away the takeovers at the same time. Because I think we're going to hit the point of, would you want like the NXT title on Mania? I think I would, but at the same time, I do want the takeovers. And takeovers always before the WrestleManias or whatever. So unless you change that where they have their own shows, like you have like a Raw month, a SmackDown month pay-per-view, and then a TakeOver, and you do that where you have separate shows or whatever, I guess I'll be cool with that. But I'm like, alright, well now, so you're going to put NXT on Mania, you're going to put the normal title, the tag title, the North American title, and possibly the women's now you have 4 more matches onto a 12-match, 15-match WrestleMania card. Now you're at 19 matches. That's going to go 9 hours.
Exactly. Well, 4 of them are going to be 30 seconds and done.
So that's my big complaint to it. Is if you're going to start adding NXT to big shows, I like it, but at the same time, then cut out the stuff that's...
And I don't think that's what, and then we'll talk about that more in a second, but do you agree, though, that there's no more of the calling up period? Like, there's no more, like, alright, Finn Balor gets called up to Raw, he got drafted to Raw, whatever, like... do you see NXT as a legitimate third brand at this point?
I think when it comes to TV, I'm going to be like, 100%. But I do think it is a third brand. I do think, and they can really legitimize it. Whatever. You can... Three syllables. You can really make it legit if when they have this new draft that's in October 4th or whatever, and you have the NXT in that draft. So like I think it starts on that Friday as the first day of the draft. If you have Friday, then that Monday is the second part, and then you have the third part on NXT. Then you're like, all right, now you get new guys on NXT from Raw and SmackDown. You really
these guys coming here, and it can't be guys that are just awful either. Not like Apollo Crews going back to NXT does nothing for me.
I do. I want to see like. Actually, wait, I was going to say Rollins, but that's awful. That's like way too big. Maybe like the New Day. Like you could spark the crowd.
The Revival can go back.
Revival can go there. Like it's like these better teams can really go down and then move everyone around. I would be totally okay with that because now Undisputed Era, I'm like. Maybe you're not getting totally killed going to the main roster. If NXT's part of the main roster, you could just stay in NXT and do what you do.
I think NXT is a viable third brand, but I think they should market it still as okay. Now that the era is on Raw, but they don't get killed. I think what it should be is a bridge, not just to get called up and do nothing, Like the Viking, what the hell they're called now. They're just floundering. They're just floating. You know what I mean? Whatever. They're in the main event, but they're just floundering. They're not doing anything. Where is if they get called up, it's like, we're already on TV. We know these characters. Yeah. So when they get moved to Raw or SmackDown, they don't immediately, they get the initial push because they're new, and then they just sit there and float. They're key guys brought in as key guys going forward.
Yeah. I think it helps because I think you can do something like the Viking Raiders go to Raw and they have 4 matches and you're like, oh, they're dying.
Yeah.
Now we can move them to NXT.
Right.
And people know them. Like NXT is gonna have that like buzz of people that watch NXT for the hour show on the network.
I think you're gonna see the depth too kind of get played out here in the next couple of weeks.
Now you can move Robert Roode to NXT. You can move these guys.
Yeah, Ziggler goes down and shocks everybody.
Yeah, literally the lower card guys who are like Drew McIntyre. You can even put on NXT now and then make him world champion. Like you can make these guys that are supposed to be WWE and Universal Champion. You can make the NXT title spike up, and now you have 3 legit championships, and now you can move these guys around. Like, man, McIntyre should be world champion, and he's not yet. Well, you can be NXT world champion, and now it legitimizes it a little bit.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. We just talked about seeing the NXT title match at Mania a little bit, and we're for it. But like you said, I agree with you. You can't take away the takeovers. If you take away the takeovers, you kill the brand. Yes. You will kill the brand.
It's just what? It's just
a match. Well, then it's just a match. It's like the ECW title, right? The ECW title was just the opening match every month on the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You cannot do that. If you're going to... I would say the only big show you could put it on is WrestleMania. That's the only show that I would be like, okay, they're going to have the takeover, right, or whatever, and maybe they have a big match to determine who's going to face the champion.
Yeah, I do like what New Japan did for a little bit with the Ring of Honor title.
Right.
So we're like, okay, we don't usually have these people on, but for this one time at Wrestle Kingdom 13 or
we're going to see Kyle O'Reilly versus Cole for the title.
Yeah, you're going to put like just that show. Right. Every other show you can do your own thing on Ring of Honor, but this one show, I think WrestleMania could be a spot where you honestly, I would love to see WrestleMania just be like a night of champions.
Yeah,
and you just have only title matches.
As we come up on Clash of Champions here, which we'll talk about next week.
Yeah. I would just love going, all right, you put NXT titles, and you can even split up where you go, NXT's on first, and and Raw's on second, SmackDown's on third, if you really wanted to do it that way.
I wouldn't even need to see the North American or the tag titles, right? Just the NXT title, because I think what that does would elevate the NXT championship to be like, oh my gosh, right? Yeah. And I think that would be a great way for the stars that were quote-unquote on the main roster to come down and be like, no, I want that. I'm here for that, and I'm going to take it at Russell. I just think you could make that championship really mean something.
I do think that if they did do that, I think, and I don't know if you would like this because you're very, like big on the WWE Championship being on last. I think if you put the NXT title on last in a big match atmosphere, like a Gargano,
you could do that.
Something.
I would accept it on any other show besides WrestleMania.
Okay.
I would accept it, like, if they were going to do it on, like, the Big Four or whatever, like, and they did it on...
But I think you could really legitimize it, because you can go, it's the main event of the last show, like, this title means something.
What they should do is have the NXT champion beat the WWE Universal champion.
You could
make him a dual champion, and then he's like, I'm keeping both, or whatever like that.
You could do something like that, but
you know what I mean?
I think the NXT title has to be something near the end to really push that brand a little bit. And it needs to be
elevated, because when they do go to USA... And it's this big thing. That championship needs to be like, man, did you see, dude? Like, he became NXT champion, like, you know, or you're pissed off, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
Whoever's the NXT champion, it can't be this experimental, like, it's the whatever guy. No, it needs to be a bona fide star who you think can carry a brand, right? Like, Ciampa was carrying the brand, right? You know, Cole is now holding that, you know, that mantle over. The era as a whole is holding that. So I think that's a huge component for their success. Last question. This is more of a personal thing before we end the show. Would you rather be a top guy in NXT, okay, like you're guaranteed a top spot, or 50-50 shot of being a top guy on Raw or SmackDown?
Oh, I'd be a top guy on. I guess. Well,
like, so you don't know. You can either be. You could be Seth Rollins-ish, Drew McIntyre-ish guy, right, where you're on the top of the card usually, or you're Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
Take your, like, you can't pick, but you just take the risk. Either you're going to go to NXT or you go there.
See, I'm in a mix of that because in the situations we brought up, so if they still had takeovers and then you just have like the title on
as it sits right now, they're going to be on, let's just say they're on USA because they're going to be on USA, right? And you're on TV anyway. Would you stay in NXT forever?
I'd rather take a Gargano stance of like, I'll just be on NXT, I'll be on Lifer or whatever, than be on the main roster, because I think that brand is going to be, especially with the war that's going on, I do think a lot of people will tune in to one of the two. Actually, early, I don't think they'll tune into NXT at all, really.
I
have a theory on that too.
Yeah. We'll talk about that as they kind of debut as well, and we'll see. We'll kind of get a feel what AEW show is going to be, what the NXT show is going to really feel, because it's going to be very heavily scripted and tight-knit and everything, so I'm sure they're going to want to make a good impression. We're going to wait to talk about it after a couple weeks, because their first couple weeks are like half live, half not, so we're going to give them a pass.
The first actual live tour shows the same day.
Exactly, AEW. So we're going to talk about it, we're going to give it some time to develop and really get a feel and see what we're kind of digging, you know, after the initial, you know, the shine is kind of worn off a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one for me. I think I'd take my chances, honestly, because my thought is, you know, being a lifelong wrestling fan, right? It's like, man, you know, like so I'm never gonna be Intercontinental Champion. I'm never gonna get that opportunity to be Intercontinental. I'm never gonna get that shot to be WWE Champion, right? Yeah. Like, it's totally a risk, right? Obviously, I'm not a professional wrestler, so it doesn't matter. But you know, at the same time, you're just like, man, because like Gargano, you know, he's a lifer, quote unquote. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think
he's held everything.
I think he's gonna be champion. He's gonna be the guy that like you come back to, and like he's gonna make stars now. Now that he is the guy,
exactly.
He's gonna make.
That's not the existence.
Well, he's already like the worst takeover record ever.
Oh yeah, right.
Like
exactly. Yeah, he's got a terrible Mania record. But that's what I'm saying. Like, now that he's been champion and everything else, it's like, all right, I've reached I've won the Dusty Rhodes Classic. I've won the, you know, I won the tag titles. I won the North American title for 7 days. I won the world title, like, or NXT title, whatever you want to call it. I've done everything I can do. I've had feuds of the year. I've had matches of the year. I've been on top of the card, beginning card. What else can I do here? You know, but at the same time, if he goes to main roster, he's dead.
But I do think he's the guy that you can give the title to. Like, say, all right, we want to move
in a transition.
We want to move Arrow to Raw.
Yep.
So you give Gargano the title back.
Yep.
And then he's sitting there, and then McIntyre comes in, and that's the feud.
Yeah, for sure.
Whoever comes in.
Right. Exactly. I think he's that, and I think he's also the guy you use to build stars. So if you're really high on so-and-so, whoever's coming in, like Kushida, let's just say, because he's somewhat new, right? You want to put Kushida on in a big match, he beats Gargano. Yeah. Okay, well, oh my gosh, he beat Gargano.
And then
exactly. Absolutely. All right, that's going to be it for episode 42. Next week, we're going to probably going to talk some Lions again, so be ready for it. We're going to talk, this whole, what else are we going to talk about?
Probably about Michigan State.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Michigan State and how Michigan's probably going to get destroyed by Wisconsin.
Or maybe destroy Wisconsin.
I'm not going to put money on it, but it's okay.
I don't bet on anything. That's why. Okay.
I know. Anyway, all right. For the Merc Zone, for the Mouth of Michigan, we will see you guys as always next time.